This is shocking for the Padres. The ownership are making some massive claims, and that woman right there, Shildt, is potentially the team's savior. What's going on, everybody? Christian Pedersen back again with Padres Digest. Before we go any further, talking about all of the drama with the Padres front office and ownership, I got to make sure that you guys smash that subscribe button. So far, we are doing great at catching Dodgers Digest, but we got a hashtag beat LA in all things here. So we need to beat them on the field. We need to beat them in the YouTube followers and everything in between. So, all right, let's talk about it. This lady right here, this is Shildt, the widow and wife of Peter Seidler, the late owner of the San Diego Padres, who just this week filed a lawsuit against Peter, her late husband, and the primary owner of the San Diego Padres, against his brothers. Now, the legality of all this, I'm going to try and boil you down to the simplest of what's going on here, because it impacts every single Padres fan. This is not just some family inheritance squabble, rich people fighting over their toys, because every single Padres fan is affected by this in one shape or another. Shildt is alleging in this lawsuit that Peter's brothers are up to some nefarious shenanigans. It's not legal sense terms, but what it seems like the core of this is that when the Padres were owned by Peter, they were owned under a trust. And that trust, when Peter passed, different members and elements of his family were able to wrestle certain degrees of control from it. And now the brothers, according to this lawsuit that Shildt has filed, the brothers have basically iced her out of the team against Peter's will. So against her late husband's will, who he listed her as the primary person that he wanted to have take care of the franchise and controlling interest of the franchise. They have put all sorts of legal maneuvering in to ice her out, going so far as to kick her out of the owner's suite, deny her compensation from the trust fund. Like, there's a lot of legality to it, but you're asking, Christian, how does this affect all of us? And well, I will tell you guys, let's start drawing some conclusions and connections here. What has been happening this offseason? Absolutely nothing. Padres have lost out on free agents. Padres have not made big moves. Padres have been at an absolute standstill. And unless we're going to try and, put the blinders on, I don't see anything. I don't know what's going on. It has to do with this lawsuit and everything that is going on behind it. This is not AJ Preller holding his cards close, waiting for some last-second sprint to the finish here. This is sloppy infighting spilling over into what's going to be the on-field product next year. Well, I mean, I did a video a couple days ago talking about Jurickson and Profar potentially re-signing, not signing, what's going on. Guys like that we could lose because of one set not wanting to spend money and one set wanting to do. So let's talk about the statement that Shildt released from her legal side here. It's a couple of pages long, so bear with me. I'm not going to read you all of it today, but she addressed the letter openly to Padres fans, filed a complaint against Matthew and Robert Seidler. Those are the two primary brothers who she alleged are becoming the main issue here. And they, she goes on to say that, Peter and her valued this franchise. They valued this city. They valued this team. This whole message that she sends out, really, I'll give you guys some time to read it. It seems to come from a place genuinely of love and her family wanting to ride or die with the Padres, wanting to bring a World Series to San Diego to honor her late husband and to give her kids and her, it just seems to be their mission. I'm letting you guys read this a little bit. I'm talking over that, probably a little bit confusing. A lot of this is confusing, but, like she says, this is not a decision that I've made lightly during this difficult period. She has done everything in her power to avoid unwanted distractions and resolve the matter privately. That obviously, though, is not working if we are at the point where she has to do this. For the past 13 years, you, the Padres fans, the best and most passionate in baseball in the San Diego community, have shown such incredible kindness to me, our children, and of course, Peter. While the children and I feel Peter's absence every day, our collective devotion to this team is stronger than ever. She wants to win a World Series for this city, for our team, for the players, for her family. She wants to win a World Series. That woman right there is the savior who can take the Padres to the promised land. But it seems that her in-laws, Peter's brothers, from what this suit alleges, want to use the Padres just simply as a way to make money. They want to transfer the assets into their name for pennies on the dollar and take. And I might not be able to project crystal ball 20 years into the future, but from what it seems like is happening this offseason, they don't have much of, if any, interest in the big splashy spending that Peter Seidler was known for in his tenure as the owner of the Padres. He brought us Manny. He brought us Fernando. He brought us big name players. He brought us medium name players and paid them bigger name contract price to hold on to them. He put a team in place that was just a couple of wins away from making a World Series a couple of different times, and she wants to continue that legacy. Well, it seems like the brothers don't. That's where this affects all of you Padres fans. This is not a one owner just wants to be parading around in front. Like, this isn't a vanity situation. This seems to be the fundamental core principles through which the Padres are owned and operated is at stake here. One side wants to spin to bring the community together and win a World Series. One side wants to take, and drain this team. But unfortunately, it also seems like there is some elements just of hate and animus at this. If you read through the lawsuit, and I will spare you the needing to dig around, yada, 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 through all the 40-plus pages of it, but you can get to some of the core here also that Shildt alleges. You can read that. I don't want to say those words. I don't want to bring any... I'm not a person who hates. I'm a person who loves, and I don't want to put that out into the universe, but there are complaints of racism. There are complaints of misogyny. There are complaints of all sorts of degrees here that Shildt is alleging she is receiving from the remainder of the Seidler family as they have cut her off from accessing the owner's suite. They have cut her off. They have told her to be, she's basically become persona non grata around the Padres staff and players, front office, team, scouting, play, like all of that in between. She and her kids, so Peter's immediate family, who he has documented that he wanted to have take over control of all this, is being effectively barred and iced out from the team. That's where we stand right now as of us recording this January 7th. This lawsuit is not going to be resolved quickly. So my question is, what does this mean going forward? Sasaki, the Japanese phenom, has listed one of his qualities that he wants: organizational stability. So to me, and this is a little bit more on the side of just guessing as opposed to the side of concrete evidence, this would mean kiss Sasaki goodbye. Unless we are going to absolutely pay him, 20, 40, 60, something huge more than one of the other competitors. I don't see how he views this becoming a public lawsuit as anything good for what he wants. I think we're in danger of losing Profar. And then it's just a snowball going downhill from there, because what do? We assume that this is going to be resolved in 6 months, in 6 weeks. If Peter Seidler's brothers are holding on to this team for dear life and doing this level of familial infighting, you got to be red flag, red light, all of the warning signs concerned that this is a bad omen for things to come for the Padres organizationally. Because how are you going to keep bringing in free agents? How are you going to maintain stability? How are you going to have an organization who can focus on one thing and one thing only, which is winning the World Series, when you have this going on? I don't see how it's possible. So while it is good news for the Padres fans that Shildt Seidler is making moves to try and take the team back in the direction that we all want them to go, to honor Peter's wishes and bring a championship to San Diego, it certainly seems like it is going to be a rocky road ahead of us getting there. So let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment on what you think, how this is all going to resolve, if you like her, if you like the brothers, who you think should be running the team, and what you think this means and how this is going to impact the Padres. And as I said at the top, make sure you hit subscribe to the channel so all the latest news of this and everything else Padres drops right into your feed.